Hi guys, welcome back to Waxing On. It's Monday, and of course you know that means jazz. And today we're looking at a band got to start late 70s in Toronto, and they're still out there touring and recording. It's a group called Manteca, name taken from an old Dizzy Gillespie tune. Their music very much like what Gillespie was doing in the days, and very true to the Manteca idea. It's kind of a Latin, samba, salsa type music, very lively, very exciting, lots of percussion, lots of great horn players in there. And again, they've had lineup changes through the years. I see the most recent one also includes a trombone player from Ottawa that we know here, Mark Ferguson, who's played in similar kind of salsa bands before. Now, this one, the album I have is called Extra Extra. Kind of a greatest hits. It's a culmination of tunes from a lot of different places. To give you some idea who we have for players, a lot of them I was not familiar with. Two people stand out as names I do recognize: Steve McDade on trumpet and Herb Kaufman. You may recognize that Kaufman name connected to Mo Kaufman, Boss Brass. McDade had also played in the Boss Brass at one time as well in Toronto. Quite a few tunes here, all originals, some written from mostly the guys in the band that are writing this. It's recorded in 1984, direct to stereo digital. One of the tunes here, and that was a big thing back in that day. Anyways, to give you some idea of the tunes they have, we have Extra Extra, New New, Au Soleil, Au Soleil, Anaconda, Perfect Foot, Danceretta, Avco and Strength in Numbers, Benin Road, Heart of Darkness, Jungle Beast, Beeline for Bob, MTC, and Renzori. Now, if you're like me, a lot of those names did not really ring a bell because, again, this is a band that's doing all original material. Not a lot of exposure on radio. The albums, for me, were difficult to find because being a local Toronto band, it didn't have a big label behind it. I forget which label this one's on. Let's just take a look and see. I think they've done their own Duke Street Records. Well, I have heard of that as well, but it wasn't something that was readily available. This was a CD I was able to pick up. And again, right now when I go online, they have a couple of albums on the streaming networks, but not all of the streaming networks. I checked Spotify, there was one on there. I think they had 3 albums. When I went to Amazon Music, I couldn't find them. So again, they're not as mainstream as a lot of bands might have been to get that kind of coverage. But what surprised me, again, I'd heard of them back in the 80s and 90s, kind of lost track of them, that they're still out there touring and performing. They've got concerts lined up through July and August of this year already. So still a chance to get out and hear it, but it's a very fiery, exciting music. I would say at some point you consider that dance music. And I don't mean dance music like the big bands or dance music like the techno pop, but in that Latin kind of feel. It's great street music. And an exciting band. And like I say, this music is full of fire and energy. It's different from anything else we've covered on Waxing On. I went back and I looked at an album by one of the great, Brazilian writers, and it wasn't like they were doing back in Brazil either. I'm trying to think of his name right now, but it'll come to me. But we did cover a little bit of that with Raul de Souza, being, again, Brazilian music and that, but not like what we have in Manteca. So something worth taking a look at. Again, a few players that names ring a bell, a lot of local Toronto musicians in there, but music that's very different from what we've covered. And I don't know how many other bands are doing this kind of stuff. I'm assuming there's quite a few, but not quite a few in my area. So it really stood out as something extra special. And of course, my first click on it was because Mo Kaufman's son in here playing. So I had that as kind of something that anchored me to it. So that's it for Monday. It's kind of a short show. I only had one disc to cover today, and not a lot of material to cover in the songs because, hey, as I mentioned, all originals. But check it out, Manteca, Extra Extra. A great album to start out with. your first exposure to this great band. Okay, everybody, have a great week. See you on Wednesday for Classic Rock. Until then, take care, stay safe. Thanks for stopping by.